All right. PFL number 5 going down today, June 17th. The first fight is at 5:30 Eastern on ESPN Plus. Really good card. I'm excited for it. I just wanted to do a quick rundown of the entire card. And I'm going to post this to YouTube. This is for everybody, free information for everybody. Hopefully, it can lead to some tickets, some bets being won. Have had a really good year and historically betting PFL, so thought I'd share some knowledge and hopefully we can all make some money tonight. So yeah, let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys. First fight of the night is going to be Sibusai versus scroll down. Sibusai versus Alexei Kanchenko, former UFC vet. Sibusai, not the most impressive record on paper, but I think he's a lot better than what his record says. And he's got some really insane attributes as far as a welterweight is concerned. He is plus 130, a slight underdog to Alexei Kanchenko, who's minus 165. On paper, probably the line should be a little bit wider, but to be honest, I'm a really big fan of Sibusai, and I think he's got a really good shot in this matchup. He is 6'3", 80-inch reach at 170 pounds. That's kind of what I was talking about here. His insane length, 6'3" at welterweight, insane 80-inch reach, insane at welterweight. This is more like what a welterweight should be, 5'8" and a 70-inch reach. Taping this fight, I mean, I didn't really have to tape Sibusai very much. I'm very familiar with his game. I'd say the area where he struggles the most with is when he's on his back. But Kanchenko, on the other hand, averaged 0.49 takedowns. Was it 0.49 or 0.29? One of the two, which is very, very low. And he is not a grappler. He's not a wrestler. He probably can mix it up if he needs to, but Kanchenko did not have a round one matchup in PFL this year, so he's going to need points. And I don't think he's going to revert to his secondary sort of offense and grappling out of the blue here. So that's the best path to victory when going against Tibau, and Kanchenko is just not that, in my opinion. He's gonna look to do what he always does historically, and that's gonna be kickbox and strike. And I think he's gonna have a ton of issues with the length and the volume of Sibusai. Also, another thing is Kanchenko, according to Fight Metric, is a really low volume fighter. He kind of picks his shots. He's not hesitant, but he's gonna pick his shots, and he's looking for the power punch over the volume. And on the other hand side is he's looking to pick you apart. He's got the low kicks, he's got the high kicks, he's got the jab, and overall more volume. And I think at this underdog price, plus 130, I believe he's plus 140 right now, according to a few books. I really like that number. In his first fight of the year, he fought Nikolai Alexakin, and I bet him there too. Like I said, I'm a really big fan of this guy. I think he's a lot better than his record indicates. I love that reach. I love that length. And at plus 140, I think that's the best way to approach this fight. So take the money line for Sibusai, and thank me later. Next fight, we have Jordan Young versus Tom Lawler. Honestly, don't know what Tom Lawler is still doing fighting. If I'm being fair with you, respect to him, had a good career. But Jordan Young is probably one of the best prospects at 205 pounds. I know it's a shallow division overall, and when you get a young 26-year-old at light heavyweight who's 11-1, it's kind of rare. I think Jordan Young's got the goods. He can wrestle. He's got good submission skills, and he's got good striking. So I honestly, there's not much to say about this matchup. Tom Lawler is way past what he once was, and Jordan Young is just coming up. Jordan Young actually he got a passover, and in the first round, 2 of his opponents pulled out on him. He's got 3 points. I don't think he necessarily needs a finish in this fight. With the decision win, he can, and a little bit of luck, he can probably move on in the playoffs. But I do think Jordan Young is going to be able to finish Tom Lawler. I think anywhere Tom Lawler goes or wants to approach his fight, I think Jordan Young will have the answer. So instead of parlaying the minus 400, I think what you could do is, I think over 1.5 is probably a good play too. But Young inside the distance is only minus 120. I think he's going to finish Tom Lawler, whether it's by KO or whether it's on the mat. So yeah, I think that's the best way to approach that fight. Next fight, we have Curtis Millender versus Magomed Karamov. Magomed Karamov is the best welterweight outside of the UFC. Magomed Karamov is a top 10 welterweight right now in the world. I'm looking dead in the camera, and that's facts, guys. Yeah, he's one of the best welterweights outside the UFC. I believe that. And he's fighting Curtis Millender, who, quite frankly, is nothing compared to Magomed Karamov. We saw Curtis Millender get run through by Rory Macdonald in the first round via submission, and I kind of think the same thing's going to happen here. Magomed has all the tools: submission, grappling, wrestling, striking. He's got it all. Magomed Karamov actually didn't fight in the first round either, so I believe he's at minus 1 point in the standings, and he's at the very bottom of the list. Let me look through my notes real quick. Yeah, he's at minus 1 point, along with Alexei Kanchenko. So he is going to need a quick finish, and I think he can do it on the mat. He's going to take Curtis Millender down, and he's going to submit him in the very first round. Let's go ahead and look at the betting odds for this one. It's absolutely wild. Minus 1,600, but rightfully so. I don't think Curtis Millender has a shot in hell. It's probably gonna have to be a flying knee while Magomed is changing levels. It's gonna be some type of flash KO. Over 1.5 rounds, minus 130. I don't know. I think Magomed Karamov's gonna try to get him out of there quickly. He's gonna take him down right away and look for the submission. So I think you could probably go under 1.5 rounds here. Not very confident. I'd probably go half a unit, not a full unit. But at the plus number, I like it. If you want to, I think also another one, this is probably parlayable. I'm not too sure if many sports books have this as a parlayable piece right now. But Magomed Karamov inside the distance is definitely the play here. He's going to finish him. He's not going to win by decision. If Millender makes it to the decision, that's a win in itself. I don't think he is. I think the best welterweight outside the UFC is going to get the job done rather quickly. Next fight of the night is going to be João Ceferino versus Jason Ponette. I don't want to shit on anyone here, but quite frankly, Jason Ponette is probably the worst welterweight on the entire season this year. Not sure why he is here. He made Ray Cooper look like a submission specialist, and he made Ray Cooper look really good. I think Ceferino has way better submission skills than Ray Cooper does, and I think we're gonna kind of see something similar to what happened to Jason Ponette in the first round of his in his debut at the PFL. I think we're going to see Ceferino take him to the mat, and I think we're going to see an early submission win for Ceferino. Ceferino is currently sitting at number 3 with 3 points. He had a decision win. Very, very boring, kind of inactive decision win versus Gleison Tibau. I think a lot of that had to do with them being teammates and them training together in the past. But Ceferino still looks good. He's got the striking. He's got, like I said, the grappling, and I think he's going to be able to submit Jason Ponette in the very first round to add 6 points and clinch a spot in the playoffs. I think there's not much to the breakdown here. Simply different levels. If you were able to get in at minus 400 for Zeferino, I think that was great. It's unfortunate that BetOnline didn't let you parlay till I believe a day after the lines dropped. So as soon as they let you parlay, look what happened. All the way to minus 600. But like I said, I think Zeferino, another big favorite who's going to finish inside the distance, get rid of that minus 600. I mean, unless you have to parlay, I think Zeferino should get the job done fairly easy. But okay, under 2.5 isn't widely available, but that'd probably be the spot. But under 1.5 at a plus number, I'd probably have to recommend that. And that would be a 1 unit play. I like that spot at the plus number. I think Zeferino makes quick work of him. Zeferino inside the distance, minus 120, another good one. Moving on, Martin Hamlet versus Corey Hendricks. I bet Martin Hamlet in the first fight of the season 2 months ago versus Dan Spawn. And he kind of exceeded my expectations, if I'm being honest with you. He got an arm triangle in half guard, I believe it was, which is fucking insane and kind of speaks to how strong this guy is. This guy's a light heavyweight, but his build is heavyweight, and he has really good wrestling. He's a really solid grappler. Trains with Jack Hermanson, and it shows. They both kind of have similar games, but Hamlet is by far a better wrestler, and he has a suffocating top game with decent submission skills. Corey Hendricks, on the other hand, I think is kind of undersized for light heavyweight. Corey Hendricks is going to have the advantage on the feet striking, but I mean, I don't think that's really going to matter because Hamlet is going to get this fight to the ground pretty quickly, I would think. And if Hamlet doesn't finish him in the first 2 rounds, I think it could probably get a little sweaty for Hamlet in round 3. Hendricks is really, really tough guy. He's a scrappy guy. And like I said, he has that striking advantage. He's got a lot of KO power. But largely, I expect Hamlet to get the job done here. I would say a ground and pound finish in round 2 or a submission in round 2. As far as betting, how to attack this fight from a betting perspective, I kind of think minus 368 is pushing it. This guy does have a loss to Modestas Bukauskas, and that's not a very good look, to be honest with you. I can't get behind a minus 368 price tag. And yeah, I think if there's a play here, it's gonna be half a unit, not a full unit, under 2.5 rounds. That is what I would urge you guys to do, especially at that good number. I think both sides have finishing potential, and you get a good plus number at plus 125. So that's what I would recommend. Next fight, we have Vinny Magalhães versus Shoeface Antonio Carlos Jr. Antonio Carlos Jr. got a round 1 submission versus Tom Lawler in his PFL debut. Vinny Magalhães is very close to the end, getting his legs snapped in submission underground. He's coming off, I believe, several injuries and several KO losses in his last few PFL fights. Outside of like a heel hook in round 1, guys, I'm not sure how Vinny wins this fight. Antonio Carlos Jr. is very high level on the mat. I do think there's a difference between the two. Obviously, I think Vinny is probably the better submission grappler overall. But how is he going to get the fight to the mat? How is he going to get on top? How is he going to get the fight where he wants it? I think Antonio Carlos Jr. on the other hand is the better wrestler, so he's going to be able to dictate where this fight goes. And yeah, I think he's going to piece him up on the feet. And outside of that random meme submission from Vinny, I don't see him having much success here. Historically, he has a pretty bad gas tank. And honestly, shoe face at minus 295 is probably a horrible look. I say that now because I probably won't ever forget him letting me down in the Uriah Hall fight a couple fights ago. I believe it was minus 195 in that spot, and I had a 5-unit play on him, and he let me down. I thought he did win the decision. I thought he did enough to win the decision, but there was a crowd, and the crowds don't like people humping each other's legs, and I think that influenced the judges. And anyways, yeah, I don't know. Minus 295 is kind of a bad look. You don't want to be playing shoe face at that high of a line, especially against Vinny Magalhaes, who does have that round one meme finish ability. Yeah, I don't see this fight going to the scorecards. A lot of these fights are not going to go to the scorecards tonight. I think if you can get under 2.5 at minus 140, if you can get fight doesn't go to decision at around minus 185, I think that's the play here. So yeah, that's what I'd recommend. Probably go a full unit on that one. Pretty confident that one doesn't see the scorecards. Next fight, we have Cesar Ferreira versus Chris Camozzi. Chris Camozzi had a war in his fucking first fight of the season against Emiliano Sordi. It was a fun fight. It was exactly that. It was a war. And Cesar Ferreira, on the other hand, only had to fight for 30 seconds. He got a KO in 30 seconds. Body kick, followed it up with punches against the fence, and he was out of there quick. And Cesar Ferreira is 14-8. I think here's another guy whose record doesn't do him justice. I think Ferreira still got it, guys. He's only 2 years removed from fighting Marvin Vettori, who just fought Israel Adesanya, and I know he got 30-27 on the scorecards, but I thought it was a good showing despite that, and I think Cesar Ferreira's still got a lot of good qualities, and I think he's going to make a pretty deep run in this tournament. And I think this might be our guy winning $1 million this year. Don't quote me, but I think he's got a real shot at winning $1 million this year. He is currently number one in the standings. And yeah, I think Chris Camozzi historically has done really bad against grapplers. Ferreira can submit him. Ferreira can't get a lot of top time against Chris Camozzi. Ferreira is going to look for the takedown. He doesn't need a round one finish. He doesn't need to rush anything. Camozzi, on the other hand, is probably going to rush a couple things, and he's going to look for the KO here. And I think he's just going to run into a takedown. He's going to run a double legs, being too aggressive, and I think Ferreira's going to have a lot of top time, or he's going to get the submission win. So, yeah, Camozzi historically, like I said, has had trouble with grapplers. That's exactly what Cesar Ferreira is. Minus 365, I think it's justified. Camozzi doesn't have too much KO power, and fairly confident Cesar Ferreira gets the job done. Here's another one, guys. I told you these fights aren't going the distance tonight. Fight doesn't go to decision, minus 155, under 2.5, minus 150. That is what I recommend you take for a full unit. Very confident that one does not hit the scorecards. And here's one of the any Emiliano Sordi fight is fun, but I do think Dan Spawn's getting a little bit overlooked in this spot. Dan Spawn has the goods on the feet. If Sordi actually only has 3 points. He's coming off a decision win versus Camozzi, like we just talked about, and he's gonna need some points, guys. Like I said, if all these fights are gonna be finishing tonight, you're gonna need a finish as well. You're gonna need some points. He's currently number 4 with only 3 points, so he's going to need a finish over Dan Spawn, and this is going to be fireworks for however long it lasts. That's how Emiliano Sordi fights go. He either finishes or gets finished, and he doesn't want to spend 15 minutes in that cage. He wants to go after his opponent, and he wants to take him out early. And I have a very interesting stat for you. And it's probably my play of the card, without a doubt. 16 out of the last 17 Emiliano Sordi fights, if they were lined at 1.5 rounds for the total, over or under, 16 out of the last 17 have cashed on the under. That is simply amazing. That is a guy who does not want to spend too much time in the cage. That is a guy who gets down to business right away, and he's looking for a finish. And what really doesn't make any sense to me, I looked at this line the other day, and I was just like, wait, I don't understand why it is priced that way. Look what we have here. Under 1.5 rounds, minus 115. I will say it again. 16 out of the last 17 Emiliano Sordi fights have cashed the under 1.5 rounds. 2 out of the last 2 fights for Dan Spone have cashed the under 1.5 rounds. They both need points. They're both going to be desperate. They're going to sling some leather. It's going to be fireworks for 5 minutes, and someone's going to go down. It's as simple as that. So this is probably my favorite play of the card. Under 1.5 rounds. There will be blood. Really fun fight. But like I said, Spone has the goods on the feet. He's a really good striker out of the southpaw stance. He's got power. He's got quick hands. So, yeah, I wouldn't take the minus 405 on Sordi. He could go out there and make it look pretty easy like he has for the large part in the PFL, but I'm not counting out Dan Spahn. I think he's got a shot for the KO win himself. So just go with the under 1.5. I like that one. Best play of the card for sure. Next fight, we have Ray Cooper III versus Nikolai Aleksakin. Nikolai Aleksakin is probably my favorite welterweight outside of Magomed Karamov. I think he's probably the dark horse in this tournament. Ray Cooper missed weight yesterday morning, so he got a walkover win, and he was awarded 3 points. So I think that puts him... He got 1 point since it was a no contest between him and Sibusai. He is number 4, but like I said, he just got 3 points, so he is number 3. Number 3 in the standings right now. He's going to need a lot of luck if he's going to get in the playoffs with only 4 points. So I think he's going to need a finish over Ray Cooper, but I kind of don't see that happening. I think Aleksakin is probably the side. I really like this guy's technical ability. His footwork is amazing, and he's fast. He's technical. He's smooth. I really enjoyed taping him. I can probably talk about him for a really long time, but I'm not going to bore you guys to death. Just go watch him. Watch a few minutes of his tape, and you'll see what I'm seeing. But yeah, he got steamed early. BetOnline opened him at minus or plus 110, I believe. And a lot of people jumped on that. Oh, my God, plus 160. A lot of people jumped on that, rightfully so. I think Ray Cooper has a lot of power in his hands. He's a decent wrestler, but footwork, like I said, footwork from Aleksakin is really, really good. I don't think Ray Cooper is going to be able to find his mark. And Aleksakin's got the goods in all areas, so I believe he'll be able to stuff the takedowns of Ray Cooper, extend this fight, and outpoint him over 15 minutes. At minus 140, I probably I say he's my favorite fighter outside of Magomed Karamov as far as skill goes, but minus 140 over the returning champ Ray Cooper, who has dynamite in his hands. It's kind of a scary proposition, but honestly, I do like him to win this fight. I think he gets the job done. We don't know how bad Ray Cooper was struggling with the weight cut. Like I said, he missed weight by 2 pounds yesterday, so Aleksakin's aside. I like him to win via decision, outpointing Ray Cooper over 15 minutes. Okay, main event of the evening. Rory Macdonald, minus 1,000 versus Gleison Tibau. Like I said, man, Gleison Tibau has 1 win in the last 3 years, I believe, and it was over Will Brooks via guillotine choke. I saw an interview where Gleison Tibau said he's going to try and make this a street fight. That's the only way he can win, to be honest. He's going to need to make this a dirty fight. He's going to need Rory to brawl with him and do something stupid, but I really don't think Rory, I don't think he can put Rory in a position to do something that stupid. I think if he comes out super aggressive like he has to, Rory's just gonna take him down and he's gonna get a lot of top time. Top time. So Rory rightfully minus 1,000. Would I play that? Absolutely not. Would I play plus 550? No. So this is kind of a weird fight. I think Rory rolls, but I do agree with them setting the over the total at 2.5 rounds. I know Rory Macdonald submitted Millender and looked like some jiu-jitsu ace versus Millender, but this is Gleison Tibau, guys. He has really good submission defense, really good grappling. I think it's going to be kind of a stalemate on the ground when Rory takes him down. And I kind of trust the durability of Tibau to hang around for that decision loss. So I got Rory by decision, and I got the over 2.5 cashing here. I know it's minus 170, but I think it's a fairly safe play. I see a couple people going against the grain here. That's obviously means a Rory finish, but I don't think he's going to be able to finish, guys. Rory's last KO was in 2012. He's not historically known as a finisher, and Tibau, like I said, I trust his durability. No elbows on the ground in PFL, so another obstacle you got to overcome. It makes it a lot harder to finish on the ground and a lot harder to finish overall. So over 2.5 rounds, that's going to be the play that I recommend. So yeah, that's it. First fight on ESPN Plus at 5:30 Eastern. You can find me at warriorbetmma.com, or you can find me on Twitter at warriorbetmma. I hope you guys enjoyed. I believe I gave a free play for every single fight. I hope we can all cash tonight. For all my official bets, go to warriorbetmma.com, and let's have a great night. PFL 5.